Sell fast, sell for more. It sounds good, but how important is it to actually sell in those first 6 weeks, and what kind of impact is it going to have on your bottom line? Today, we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about some strategies you can take advantage of, and we're going to find a way to keep more of those dollars in your pocket. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Listing Blueprint Podcast, the show for real estate agents who want to become top-tier listing agents and build a business driven by systems and not stress. I'm your host, Jeremy Reed, managing broker, 16-year realtor, and creator of the Listing Blueprint Fastest Path to Sold. Every episode, I break down one practical strategy or framework you can use to win more listing appointments, price with confidence, market with intention, and sell homes faster in any market. If you're ready to elevate your listing game and run your business like a pro, you're in the right place. Let's get started. So I've been running on the slogan, successfully sell your home in 6 weeks or less for a while now, going on about 10 years. But the interesting thing about it is that it's more an educational piece than it's an actual slogan. So when people call me and want to list their home, one of the first things we talk about is how important it is to sell in those first 6 weeks. And I think really looking at the stats, not just someone telling you that 6 weeks is important, but looking at the stats. In my market, the average sale price of a home is about $675,000. Now, homes, this was just pulled today. Homes that sell within the first 2 weeks will average 99.61% of asking price. Homes that sell in week 3 or 4 will sell for 97.6% of asking price. And those that sell in week 6 or 7 will sell for 96.68%. So it's almost a 3% difference between selling in the first 2 weeks and selling in the 6th or 7th week. If you do the math on that, that is $19,000. And if you do a little further math, that means that every day on the market for the first 6 weeks, the seller loses about $460 of equity. So every day really does count. If someone was charging you $460 a day to be on the market, I think you'd really pay attention to how fast you're selling and you wouldn't waste any days. And this is probably one of the biggest things that I try to highlight when we're listing a home, because we don't want to waste days on market, not able to show the property. We don't want them to come in and tell us stuff that we could have done ahead of time, because that's just wasting our days on market. If we're taking a bunch of our buyers and having them come through and tell us something that we really should have caught ourselves and fixed, now we lost those buyers, but we also lost some days on market. We don't want to be holding off too long to look for better offers when that first offer comes in, because it's proven time and time again, the stats don't lie, that homes that sell fast sell for more. So what is it that actually makes those first 6 weeks so important? First thing, if you think about it like a product that's going to market, you're a fresh listing, you're going to market, you are getting the entire amount of the market. You're getting the entire absorption of the market coming through your home. Now, if you think about it, this just makes sense. People that are actively watching the MLS are going to see your listing come up. And for the first 2 or 3 weeks, they're going to be the most excited. They're going to book their showings. That's why out of the gate, you usually get most of your showings. After that, you're dealing with refresh rate. Now, refresh rate is every time a new buyer comes in the market, their house sells, something changes, they get a pre-approval, and they start coming through. So those first 2 weeks, you're going to burn through pretty much everyone that's actively in the market, and then you're going to go on to refresh rate. The problem is, and this is one of the biggest things that I see people doing, is that they start high thinking that they can always come down. But the problem is when you start high, you miss those first 2 weeks of buyers. Now you have to chase the market back to market value, and you're trying to, with a price reduction, bring them back while now only dealing with refresh rate. What a lot of the sellers right now in this market are doing is they're listing the property at what market value has been perceived for the last 90 days, or about 2% under. Now, what that does is it gives you this ability to have what's called a worry price. Basically, the buyers that come through see the price, they see what things have been selling for because they've been paying a lot of attention. They know it's a good deal, and they are worried that if they don't rate an offer right now, someone else is going to after. That's your best position to be in, and that's why some of the homes right now are going into multiple offers, even when we're somewhat into a buyer's market. Now, because so much of the market is starting high and coming down with an old strategy, they're missing that bit of a mark. But the second thing that I'm seeing a lot of sellers do right now is they're not having the home completely ready when they go to market. They're leaving these little things that aren't done, half-finished projects. They're just kind of rushing to get to market. And the problem is that a year ago, 2 years ago, buyers would overlook little things because they just wanted a home. And there wasn't a whole lot that was on the market. So they just thought, I'll deal with it. I'll fix it. I'll do it after. That's not the case anymore. Buyers have so much choice that little things will actually throw deals apart. I really did have a deal recently fall through on a third showing. The buyer came through, loved the house, loved the layout, loved everything about it, but they came in at noon and realized that the sun was not hitting the office at the right angle, and they really wanted in their office. So they decided to move on to the next house because they really wanted that feature. Now, we couldn't do anything about that. We can't change the way the sun is, but what it does is it highlights just how bang on you have to be, because little things will detour buyers and they'll just wait. There's no urgency. They don't have to buy unless there's something going on. They'll wait. They'll look at other homes. They'll find something that's more perfect. So you really don't want to miss the opportunity to have everything completely done up. I've been doing preparation plans now than I've done in a long time. Getting things ready, taking the time. It might take you an extra 2 or 3 weeks to be ready to go to market, but you can get such a better result, and you're not going to get stuck in that really hard position where you start chasing the market down because you missed those first 2 or 3 weeks getting the home completely dialed in rather than just waiting and getting it done properly. And then the third thing that I think is really important right now is if you're going to go to markets, hit it with a boost. Like, really get yourself, build some anticipation before you go to market. Make sure that you're letting the neighbors know about it so they can start letting their people or their friends and family know about it. Make sure that you're getting it out to the other agents that are in your office, or the ones that you've figured out are the ones that really sell these types of properties. Do whatever you need to really build the anticipation. Get the sign up 24 hours before. Host an open house within 2 days of actually listing the property. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll actually list on a Thursday, so we have the open house on a Saturday. The reason is I want to build as much anticipation as we can right at the start. Because if we can get that offer in the first 2 or 3 days, that's going to be our best chance to actually leverage everything. So I guess this isn't a big important one or a long one. I guess it's a very important one, but it's not a long one. It's just I wanted to really drive that home, because as we go into the new year, you're going to have a chance to go back to market. Some of the listings that pulled off, a lot of listings expired, are going to relist in the new year. Chance to be a brand new listing. So when they come into the new year, the market's probably going to start to pick up a little bit. You're going to see some more sales. All the forecasts are saying that we're going to start seeing more sales. In fact, 10% of people surveyed said they're thinking of buying a house in the next 12 months in Canada. That's a huge amount of buyers that are entering into the marketplace, but they've got a lot of choice. There's a lot of competition. So what I would advise you is that if you've been on the market before and you're going on in the new year, or if you're coming on fresh in the new year, price it right. At least what things have been selling for, probably 2% under, because that's really the reality of the market right now. You want to almost undercut before. You might bring your price back up, but you want to be sharp on your price. Get your home preparation plan in play and start working on it now to make sure that by the time you go to market, everything is absolutely dialed in. And do some pre-marketing. It's like a big elastic band. Get the word out, plan the date, plan when you're going to market, plan all the steps ahead of time so there's a build up to the when you actually go to MLS. You don't have to do an open house, but it is a good way to just get a whole bunch of buyers through. But what I'm saying is treat every day like it's costing you $460, because it is, and focus on making sure that when you go back to market or you go to market for the first time, you minimize your days on market, drive an offer right out of the gate. And when it comes in, negotiate strong, keep it tight, get that price, get those dollars in your pocket. And here's the thing. As hard as it is to be a seller right now, because there's a lot of buyers and they have a lot of choice, remember, the minute that you get that sold sign in the yard and you're sold, you now get to become a buyer, which means you get to have the choice. You get to look through and you get to make it up on the other end. So I hope that helps. And if you have any questions, obviously reach out. If you're a realtor and you're interested in learning a 6-week selling system, one that's got a 90% success rate, go to the listingblueprint.ca. I've got it in the show notes before. I've got the entire process from literal intake right till you deliver keys to the new buyers, a step-by-step process that's going to help you plan, prepare, and get these homes sold faster for more. Just check it out. Follow for more. We'll talk to you guys soon.